This is Politicus News with Sarah Jones, and here's what's happening. Monday started off with a bang, with Trump blaming the media for mocking that he received for saying Tim Apple for Tim Cook, even though it's on tape. Trump, who repeats his points 3 times in a kind of rambling fashion, claimed on Monday that he was trying to save words. This was after he totally denied saying this to his donors and claimed that he whispered Cook softly. Trump finally allowed a White House press briefing on Monday, not to discuss the actual news of the day, which is his budget, but to try to hammer home his lie that Democrats hate Jewish people. CNN's Jim Acosta wasn't having it. He called out Sarah Sanders for saying things that weren't true about Democrats. Sanders said Democrats hate Jewish people, and Acosta called her out, saying, "You're saying something that is just patently untrue." Sanders replied, stating their policy positions isn't patently untrue. Acosta countered, "Democrats don't hate Jewish people, it's just not true." Perhaps what Trump is trying to avoid discussing is that he demanded Congress slash foreign aid and State Department funds and give him $8.6 billion to build his campaign wall, more than 6 times what he has been given for border projects in the past couple of years by Congress. That is also 6% more than Trump got by pretending that there was a national emergency after his shutdown failed to give him the deal that he wanted. Trump also called for an almost 5% increase in spending, but with a $13 billion cut to foreign aid, $17 billion cut to food stamps, $22 billion in cuts to welfare programs, 31% cut to the EPA, and 23% cut to the State Department. The money is going to his wall and to raise defense spending by 4%. Trump's $4.7 trillion budget is expected to be rejected by Congress, with Speaker Nancy Pelosi basically accusing Trump of stealing from the American people to pay for things like his wall. Presidential budgets are meant as wish lists and recommendations, but Trump has taken his to fantasy land. The clock is ticking on this already because there's not only just the October 1st deadline for a funding deal, but also a deadline to lift the debt limit. There have already been several hypocrisy alerts in this short recounting of Trump's budget, but here is the top. The Budget Office said the Trump budget would not balance until the year 2034, which is to say, not the usual 10-year outlook. If you recall, during the Obama years, we survived much Republican drama about the deficits. Indeed, Republican former Speaker Paul Ryan left office having overseen one of the largest deficit increases in history. Once Republicans got their hands on both chambers in Congress and the White House, they slashed taxes for the wealthy and corporations, but they failed to make up that revenue elsewhere, and thus the deficits ran to $900 billion in 2019, and the national debt skyrocketed to $22 trillion. Under Obama, Republicans clutched their pearls about needing entitlement reform or they wouldn't be able to lift the debt ceiling. Oh my. In fact, in 2012, when the federal deficit was around $779 billion, which it once again reached last year, Republicans threatened this country with the fiscal cliff. We are now way, way past that number. It turns out that the real entitlement reform that is so desperately needed in this country is tax cuts to the rich. The looming political question, that is whether Robert Mueller will present evidence of criminal conduct by Donald Trump, and if he does, will those findings prompt Democrats to begin the impeachment process in the House as laid out in the Constitution for treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors? In November of 2018, Trump finally responded to Mueller's questions via written answers about whether his campaign conspired with the Russians to hack the DNC and push propaganda aimed at causing division in this country and elevating his campaign. It's tick-tock time, waiting for Mueller, waiting for Republicans to care about the deficit again, and waiting for Trump to admit that reality is real. Join me on Friday morning for the next episode of 100% People-Driven Politicus News with Sarah Jones. You can find our episodes on PoliticusUSA at the top of the page. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, where we will soon be doing special content, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our newsletter. We are independent, and the facts are real.